You want to know the difference between a business that runs like chaos and one that runs like a smooth running machine, reducing drag in the chain.
Let's go. I don't know what comes in, but I couldn't care less. I refuse to feel stressed. There's no fear in my chest. Hit a move with my steps. Walk away from the pain I've been through. This feeling I'm feeling is brand new. This is the moment I break through.
Welcome to 10-Minute Masterclass. I'm your host and lead MC, Trey Sheneman, and our goal every episode on 10-Minute Masterclass is to teach you timeless business principles that work to help to solve today's business problems. Those business problems tend to always fall in one of the four areas of what I call the core four drivers of growth: marketing, sales, operations, and leadership. In today's episode, we're going to dive deeper into the category of one of the core four drivers of growth of operations. And I want to talk to you about drag. So back in 2016, 2017, I was in this sort of transitional period in my career where I had done agency work for a long time. I enjoyed agency work, but I was really convinced that the next season of growth for me needed to be to get inside of a bigger brand and to really kind of selfishly scale the ladder inside of a known brand. And so I made a short list of brands that I would consider going to work for. And at the top of that list was none other than Chick-Fil-A. Now, take your opinions about Chick-Fil-A one way or the other, but you cannot deny that Chick-Fil-A is one of the best growth stories in the last 50 years with the way that they stick to their principles, especially being closed on Sunday. And when you look at the math and what they make on average per store compared to other quick service restaurants, it will blow you away. And I really had an opportunity to go and work inside of the marketing and business development function of Chick-fil-A. And I did an interview with one of their HR team members, and he let me know on the interview that I was the only one applying for that job who did not actually have any in-store experience working for Chick-fil-A, and that he saw that as a major disadvantage. And he would check my references and talk to me again in a couple of weeks and then tell me if he felt like it was something that he could overcome and we could move forward. So I said, "Thank you, sir. I appreciate the consideration." I immediately went to my boss at the time in the agency I was working for and figured out how much PTO I had. And over the next 2 weeks, I actually convinced 4 different Chick-fil-A owner-operators to let me come work in their stores for free. And I did it all. I cleaned the toilets, I mopped the floors, I filled drinks, I unloaded trucks, I learned how to make chicken, I took orders at the register. I wanted to be able to get back on that next interview with the guy and take that chip off the table that he had against me. But it was what happened in that 2-week period about project management, which is the core thing we're going to talk about today, that I learned that blew me away. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a longer story today about Chick-fil-A, and then I'm going to distill it down into a really quick set of business principles that I hope you can learn from. So the third store that I worked at, they actually had me work back in the kitchen, and I was real honest with them, like, "Hey guys, I don't have any kitchen experience. Like, it's okay. You got, you're at this point, I was in my early 30s. And they were like, "Listen, if 15, 16, 17-year-old kids can do it, we pretty sure we can help you figure it out." And it's like, all right. So I go back there. They kind of showed me the safety regulations around how the fryers work, the grills work, the way the prep line worked. And they kind of let me shadow these 2 16-year-old kids, one that was running the grill and one that was running the chicken fryers. And I remember just watching how nonchalantly these 2 kids were doing their jobs. And then I noticed what was powering them. Above their fryer and their grills was a screen that every so often would come up with a message that would say, "Grill 7 pieces of chicken," or "Fry 9 pieces of chicken." And like clockwork, all they did was enjoy each other's company. And then when it was time, they look up at the screen, drop the chicken that it said. It was cooked on a timer. It would come off. They put it in the assembly line. So I watched this happen for hours. And a buddy of mine was the operator in the store. At the end of the day, we sat down. I'm like, "Man, tell me about what's going on." He's like, "Well, from a project management, from like a lean management standpoint, our registers are tracking the average number of sandwiches and nuggets that we've sold in that same hour all the weeks before on that same day in that same hour. So the system is predicting the amount of chicken that they need to cook so that it's hot and fresh for every single person who comes through the drive-thru or walks in the store." And I was blown away. When you think about a Chick-fil-A, they on average, from the research I've done, have to have hundreds of employees that are 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, because they're all part-time workers for the most part, or seasonal workers. So hundreds of employees, you know, I'm sure there's some incredible human beings out there and young minds, but they're still young. You know, they don't have years and years and years of experience. And so the team at Chick-fil-A was able to install this project management, this service management methodology using software to take the high risk and the low risk outcomes out of the system altogether through project management, where now they've empowered our workforce to deliver hot and fresh Lord's chicken to us whenever we want it, on time. I want you to think about the last time you really had to wait a long time at a Chick-fil-A, even when it was rocking, and most of them are rocking. And it's the system that they've installed. So what can we learn from that as business owners trying to build our systems? At a minimum, it doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur, you must have a project management approach to what you're doing in your business. You must have a structure and an order to what you're doing inside of your business, even if it's a simple, what's called a Kanban. Some people say Kanban. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Kanban board of to do, doing, and done that you're running in your business. I think that's kind of like minimum table stakes that you should be running. Really, my big encouragement is that you should be using a project management tool, and eventually you should be using a project management person. I think one of the greatest unlocks that every one of my businesses has hit in the operational core area of growth was that moment in time where I, as the senior leader in my function, had to stop being the keeper of the kingdom and had to invest in hiring a person to step in. So to all my project management friends out there, I am grateful for you. God bless you. Thank you for the skills that you bring to the table. So my encouragement to you is when you're thinking about project management, you really need to think about the 2 T's of project management. You need to think about the technology of project management, and you need to think about the team of project management. So from the technology side, inside of our company and many of the companies we work with, there's really 2 systems that come up a lot that have kind of stood the test of time to me as great project management platforms to you, particularly if you're in digital first, service-based businesses or tech-based businesses. And those 2 tools are ClickUp and Asana. Now, if I was picking a thoroughbred to run on, I would pick ClickUp personally, but Asana will get the job done. Some honorable mentions, and I've got a colleague on my team who I'm winking at right now because he's a big Basecamp guy. I think Basecamp is right up there. I would say Monday.com is another one that's kind of up there. But at the end of the day, these tools in their essence are the same. The idea of the tool is to reduce drag. What do I mean by drag? Drag is when you project that a certain project is going to take X amount of time and it ends up taking twice as much as you projected because you didn't manage it well. Or when you think a team member has X percent of bandwidth and they really only have Y percent of bandwidth. And so now you've either overcommitted or undercommitted that team member to the work that you're flighting. A project management tool allows you to see how long things actually do take if you're using it well. It also allows you to project how long things should take, which is actually the better operational principle here to learn is just because things take what they take doesn't mean that's what they should take, which is where the team comes in. I really do think one of the most critical hires you can make in your business is the one person whose whole role is to optimize the efficiency of everyone else on the team. And that's ultimately what a project manager does, at least the great project managers that I've worked with. So if you're at that point in your business where maybe you're nearing $3 to $5 million in revenue and you're really saying, what's a core unlock I can make in my business to get to 10 or 12? If you don't currently have the project management function solved, you would be blown away by what would happen if you would put a job listing out, take your time, really interview someone, find somebody with great references, and put a project manager or an operations manager, somebody on that team whose whole job is throughput of the machine. That's what they're held accountable to. It will blow you away what will happen. We can't all be Chick-fil-A and have screens that are telling our teams to fry 9 pieces of chicken right now, but we surely can make work visible so that it's not hidden. We can have a plan for how long, we have an idea of how long things should take. We can know how long they do take, and we can adjust accordingly. So I hope that you will apply these principles, and the next time you're in Chick-fil-A, I hope you'll remember what I said. Until the next episode of 10 Minute Masterclass, I'll see you on the flip side.